Hi guys, I'm Kat, and I want to welcome you back to day 3 of my 13 Days of Halloween series. Today, my skeletal creation is the Cyborg Endoskeleton. And the endoskeleton is what you get after you've peeled back the skin, the tissue, and the muscle, and you're left with just the bone and the hardware. This is kind of like a robot though, since it does have a battery pack. But the battery pack was a necessity if I wanted to have glowing eyes. If you like this project, stay tuned to see how I've made it. I'm going to break free the third skeleton from this packet. And then I'm going to cut off the arms at the elbows and the calves at the knees. I'll put these back into place later. But for now, I'm going to also cut off the very top of the skull. And once it's been removed, I'm going to use some sharp tweezers to poke inside of the sockets for the eyes, because I want to hollow them out entirely. Just poke the tweezers through and twist them until the eyes are the size you want them. Do the same thing at the base of the skull, right above the spine, and then on either side of the neck. Now if you have silver spray paint, you can use that for this next step. I didn't, so I'm using a Krylon silver paint marker. And I'm also using one of these fairy lights that I order periodically on eBay. This is the 10 meter one that has 10 LED lights on it. Then I'm going to feed the wire inside the hole at the base of the skull, tie a knot to hold it in place, and then I'm going to cut off all the lights except for the bottom two. Those I'm going to twist and glue in place directly behind the eyes. Then I tied the rest of the cord to make kind of what looks like a brain. Well, a wire covered with clear coating brain, which I think is quite suiting for a cyborg. Then I'm using some pieces of red and blue embroidery thread, and I've tied this into a large knot, leaving 2 inches above and about 6 inches below. I fed those through the holes on the sides of the neck, and then I created additional holes in the ribcage directly behind the arms. So you're going to feed the thread, the red and blue on each side, through the clavicle, and half of it is going to go through the rib cage, and the other half is going to go behind the arms. Then I use a series of tubes and wires that I found from around the house, such as lip liner, such as lipstick applicators, wires from floral picks, and the tubes from the connectors of the glow sticks I used at my jukebox video. And then I glued those together with the larger tubes cut off and glued in place at all the joints: the elbows, the shoulders, the knees, and the hips. And then the smaller tubes with the wires are connecting in between on all of the bones. I used some thin pieces of wire to line the fingers and also at the bottom on the toes. Then I glued the battery pack in place and glued on the rest of the arms and the legs. The legs I made a little bow-legged to help with the stand. And the embroidery thread I just kind of glued in place along the back of the legs and arms, but made sure it was seen at all the joints. And then I used some found material from around the house, such as the sides of some packing envelopes, some cording, some zip ties, and even the tie that held the skeleton in place in the package. I used a small sheet of paper that I used the Krylon marker on again to make silver, and this is going to be kind of like a torso plate, and I glued that in place. I also pressed that in directly underneath the rib cage after I added in all the different pieces of found materials as wire and hardware on the inside. Then I've used some E6000 and filled in all of the various gaps. That is on the pelvis, and also the little sections of the connector tubes, and colored those silver as well. Then I accentuated with pieces of grommets and jump rings from around the house. And for the brain, at the very top, I glued the threads into it. And that's it. You're done. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.